there and welcome back to another Miraculous Ladybug video. And recently, I've been thinking about the direction of the show, and a bunch of the loose plot threads that we probably need to see wrapped up by the end of the season. An end that's rapidly approaching. Like, how many episodes do we even have left at this point? Not many, I don't think. Maybe like 7 or something like that? Either way, we're running out of time for a lot of the show's key plot points, which in turn got me thinking. What the hell's happening with this whole alliance storyline? Like, what's going on with the Tsurugis and the Agrests? Is this going to have any actual relevance to the endgame of the Gabriel Agrest saga? Is it going to have any relevance to the future of the franchise in general, or is it just some added flavour? Some world building that's only there for the sake of being there? No real plans to expand it further than that. Just leave it hanging in the ether. And honestly, no spoilers or anything like that, but I kind of think that based on the quality of the writing, they might just kill off Gabe, never really explain anything, and then shuffle Kagami's mum off into the background. Never to be seen again, or at least never to have any real relevance again. Hopefully that's not the case, because wouldn't that just be a bit of a disappointing anticlimax? But regardless, today I do want to try and puzzle out a potential endgame to that storyline, and fill in some of the gaps that we still have. So yeah, let's get started, shall we? Okay, so a little bit of backstory. The last couple of seasons, whilst you might argue have had a number of fairly dubious writing decisions, have also been quite the treasure trove of backstory for a lot of our characters, in particular, our 1%ers. The Agrests and the Tsurugis, and also the Fathoms, but let's just quietly shuffle them off as part of the Agrest clan, shall we? Because they don't really matter. Anyway, throughout seasons 4 and 5, we've gotten the backstory for Gabe, and also some explanation as to the whole Sentimonster deal. We learned that at one point Gabe was just another nobody, and he didn't come from some immensely wealthy family. He slowly rose to prominence by making costumes, which led to opportunities in the world of fashion, which in turn started his business empire. And it made him a billionaire. Let's be real, he is a billionaire. There's no chance that he isn't one, based on what he can afford to do in canon and the stuff that he sells. And on this journey to extreme wealth, he meets other young creative minds. Up-and-coming director Andre, who later becomes a hotel mogul, or maybe he already was a hotel mogul, who knows. And also, young fashion designer Audrey, so Chloe's parents, and then he met Emily, who was a low-level actress, and probably already came from wealth, judging by the whole twin rings tradition thing, because that's a bit pretentious for a working class family. And then there's also the fact that her sister married another random billionaire, so they were probably walking in some big circles. Rich people, I tell you what. Anyway, back on topic. Gabe meets Emily, he meets Natalie, and at some point, it seems like he meets Madame Tsurugi, who in turn gets him on the trail of the Miraculouses, with a motive that we'll touch on in a little while. Because he's tomb raiding and shit with Natalie before he gets with Emily, if those photos are anything to go off. So it's not like he's set out to find these with the intention of making a kid. At some point, he then marries Emily, and he realizes that she seems to not be able to have children, and neither can her sister. So, when they find the Peacock Miraculous, they decide to use it, alongside Kagami's mum, to bring 3 little babies into the world. Felix, Adrian, and Kagami. That seems to be the origin of the Alliance. It was forged to find the Miraculouses, or at least to find rare artifacts. And of course, they then use the Miraculouses, and we know this kills Felix's abusive dad, so yeah, no rest in peace for him, but it also kills Emily. And as for Kagami's mum, well, she was once a champion fencer in canon, right? That was explained, right? And I don't think being blind is really possible for that sort of thing. I'm not wrong with that, am I? So, since I'm pretty sure that they've never ever mentioned a father for Kagami, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm guessing in turn that she went blind from using the Miraculouses to make Kagami. That's just a shot in the dark, just a guess. So yeah, that kind of catches up as to where we're up to. Also, I guess that she would be the one who first heard of the Miraculouses? I don't know. But you know, I guess Miraculouses are from Tibet, China area. You'd assume that they'd have a higher concentration of users that were from East Asia, and thus there'd be more legends and tales about them. And I'm pretty sure they mentioned that she was from East Asia, I think Japan. And since she's clearly a billionaire as well, I mean, she does launch a Star Wars level space jet with fully functioning AI, I feel like she's probably very, 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 very rich. She's probably the richest person in the world in this universe. Which once again, opens doors and probably helped her get the locations for Gabe and Co to search for the Miraculouses or any other artifacts. So, we have Gabe wanting his wife back, hence the hunting the ladybug and the cat Miraculouses, and that's the first part of the alliance. And then we have Tomoe probably wanting her eyesight back. Although, I gotta say, with her money and the level of tech that this world has, surely they could just grow her some new eyes. I mean, Markov literally helped bring back dinosaurs. Dinosaurs growing fully functioning organic eyes should be child's play for this dude, especially after Tsurugi Enterprises, or whatever it's called, perfected the Markov formula with their own supposedly more intelligent AI. Ada, I think it was called. So yeah, anyway, the writers are probably going to tell us that she wants to bring back her eyesight. I mean, it's just going to be one of those plot conveniences that you have to ignore. Surely she could grow her own eyes, but I digress. So, that all feels pretty straightforward, right? I think we've puzzled that together. That's the whole point of the alliance, as Madame Tsurugi says when she discovers that Gabe's dying. They both want this new world. A new world that the wishes can give them. And that's good, that's fine. It really is a desire that makes sense for both of their characters. Something that all their money can't buy. It's fleshed out, it explains a lot of their actions, and it gives them a reason to both work so closely together to design these rings, to do all this stuff. And that's all good. Good storyline, I think. Or at least it's one that makes a lot of sense. But there are still things that haven't really been touched on in much depth at all. The most prominent of these being, what the hell's going on with them wanting so desperately to get Kagami and Adrian to date, to be together, and in all likelihood to get married and combine their families as the only children and heirs to these massive fortunes and companies. And on top of that, I have my own personal question, which I did take a stab at earlier in this video. How does Madame Tsurugi even know about all this miraculous stuff to begin with? Is there a mystery there? Is that ever going to be explained? Or is that just going to stay a bit secretive? I honestly don't know in terms of that particular question. Like I said, when it comes to Miraculous Ladybug writing, it always works out best to just assume the more simple explanation's the right one. I think she found out because she's rich and she comes from a culture that probably had more interactions with miraculous users than would occur in, say, Europe. But yeah, back to the attempted arranged marriage. It's clear that both families want something from this, right? In particular, Kagami's mum seems to be extra forceful, and she likes to regularly pressure Gabe about it. Not that Gabe really seems unenthusiastic about it either. So throughout the course of season 5, both parents act like major weirdos and actively try to pimp out their kids and set up their little future marriage. And when you look back, it's clear that the seeds of this storyline had been planted since Kagami's first introduction to the show, but once again, why? Like I said earlier, sometimes the simplest explanation does work best. That is, that they want to unite their companies and their fortunes into one mega business and have super rich grandkids. And yeah, that's not out of the realm of possibility, I suppose. After all, their kids are the definition of designer babies. They were made artificially, they're compliant, they're intelligent, they're perfect in many ways. Why not try that for another generation, but this time in a more organic way? Especially since they conveniently both have a girl and a boy. That is one explanation, and it very well could be the actual reason based on writing trends. But it's kind of boring, you know? Is that boring to anyone else? Because I don't know, if that's the end game to the Alliance storyline, get back the wife, bring back the site, and then marry off the kids for money reasons, I don't know, it's a bit anticlimactic to me. The mystery ends up coming down to the obvious solution, which is a shame. But on top of that, when you look at it from another perspective, I feel like they have written themselves into a corner with this, because what else even could it be? I'm actually quite stumped. I need help. What is a good reason for Gabe and Madame Tsurugi to be so forceful for them to date and be together? Like, if they just want a rich partner for their kid, well, there's a lot of rich people in the world who have money and connections. So surely there's got to be something more to it. Something that we can't really see. But all the ideas I'm delving into, they feel too dark. Or at least too mature for the show. Something that you're not going to see in a show that's aimed at kids. Like, I don't know really. That's probably my big question. Where is all this going? Does this storyline have a purpose at all? Or is it just filling up time? Filling up that episode quota with a storyline that doesn't really have any long-term relevance or importance? And annoyingly, I don't have an answer. And I guess we'll have to wait and see. Although, I would like to open up the floor. Do you have any explanations for this storyline? Why are the parents so weird about this? Why are they so forceful their kids be together? Is it the obvious, boring answer? Or is it something else that I haven't really considered? Maybe they know that at some point they'll have to reveal their origin, and they want their kids to have a partner that they can trust because they're in the same boat. Who knows? But yeah, I'm curious for some other thoughts here. So I'll throw it to you. What do you think? Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know.